Hi folks, I thought I'd do a small video on this old Miller welder. This is from the probably 1970s, and why these are really good buy to pick up. I have three welders. I have a Miller Trailblazer gas-powered behemoth. I have a Yes welder that does MIG, TIG, and aluminum, as well as stick and direct current. This, however, is an strictly AC welder. And the reason I have this for my shop, I have the Yes welder and this thing that enables me to get AC as well as DC. So between the two, I have everything pretty much covered that I want to be able to weld, because occasionally you run into some things run better with AC. Typically DC is more versatile. I'm used to using DC, especially with stick, but I like having the option of having AC. But that's not the primary reason to have one of these. Let me take this cover off and I'll show you why these are such a good thing to have. Oh, and before I get too far along, so the operation of this is really simple. So you crank the handle, and you've got basically a stainless steel tape right here that moves up and down and gives you your amperage. You've got a high and low, and then your work, which this is all AC, so all three of these, there's not any negative or positive. So I did take the liberty of changing these fittings out. So I now run these into my lugs as opposed to the little pin lugs. I don't like those. I like these large lockers. That's all I've ever used. And basically having these, I can pretty much interchange. It makes my cables interchangeable with my other machines because I've got various lengths of leads. So anyway, I'll get back to, now that I've gone over the really crazy simple operation, and of course you've got your power switch. That's all you got is two controls, power switch and the dial. So and I need to tell you, this thing weighs probably almost 80 pounds. So it is a behemoth to move around. The other thing is, it's also kind of a hungry beast. This needs a 50 amp circuit. Alright, that's the last pair of screws. This needs a 50 amp circuit to run. Take the cover off. And let me come around here to the side so you guys can see. So this is the operation of this machine. It is as straightforward as you can get. Like I said, your on-off switch is right here. Feeds into a coil, and you have your little crank that operates what's called a shunt, which is nothing more than, it just increases the amount of steel in your block, which therefore increases your current flow. So it's just really straightforward. And as you move this shunt, let me see if I can't zoom in a little bit on it. As you move in back and forth right here, that tape just moves slowly. So it's really simple. Now, what's missing with this machine is electronics. There are zero electronics in this. So, meaning there's not anything, there's no control board to burn out or anything. So having one of these as a standby welder is a great idea, because unless you overheat it, these will never fail as long as they're kept inside, so that the rosin that's covering the wires is not degraded. This thing, I opened it up, other than it being dusty, it's pretty much like it was when it was made. So your fan over here is really the only part that can fail, other than, you know, your coil. This is at a 20% duty. I've not had any problem with it overheating. I think it's probably conservative that it's 20%, and maybe more like 30% duty. But and it's 20% duty at like its maxed range, which is 225 amps. And most of the time you're doing, you know, if you're stick welding, I probably am not going to be grabbing for this for 225 amps, but it's nice to know it can. It also can get really low into the 30 amp range. So if you're running really small rod, it can work out pretty well for you. But anyway, like I said, no electronic boards to break down. Really hardly any moving parts. The only maintenance required is greasing that shunt right there, that fitting, and that's it. And keeping it clean, blowing it out, and you know, maybe washing with some distilled water is the only thing I've done to this thing. So anyway, as well as I changed out the plug to a modern plug. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. If you got questions about these old welders, and by the way, my welder before this was a Miller bridge welder. It was a huge beast of a welder, but it was also just a basic transformer welder, no moving parts. I finally decided to get rid of it because I had it choked down to run on 220 single phase. It originally was 440 3-phase, and it ran 4 workstations at 100% duty. So it was just massive. It weighed somewhere around, I think it was 1,200 pounds was that welder. So anyway, like I said, I encourage, if any of you guys are running a welder or whatever, you might want to pick one of these up, or even the DC model. They've got the AC and DC, which just has a rectifier in it. They're a solid, reliable welder.